was going to bust out. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Because we are moving into freaking December here.
Ding, 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 ding.
I mean, I'm psyched.
Those were my sleigh bell noises. But
I loved them.
Dun, 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 dun. That's the opening to my favorite Christmas song that you argue is not a Christmas song, and I am going to fight it. You don't argue that it's not a Christmas song. You argue that it's not the right answer of what is your favorite Christmas song.
Yeah, yours
I had
is
to fight that last year. Christmas rapping.
Christmas rapping.
By the waitresses. It's rapping WRAPPING. So it's like a play on words.
That's really a terrible pick.
This year, my mission will be to find a new favorite Christmas song.
No,
broaden my horizons.
I thought you were going to say a new co-host.
God, are
someone
you
who
kidding me?
appreciates your musical tastes.
Nah, you know what? Not even Ren appreciated that. Like he was like, "Yeah, I'm with Susie." It's like, that's not the right answer.
What's Ren's favorite Christmas song? Did he mention?
I don't
have to find out.
Oh, I don't remember what he said. I can't remember. We're gonna have to ask him again.
All I know is I just am so excited for Christmas this year.
Me too.
I mean, I guess
what's
we're
your
just
favorite part? What do you? You know why, Suze? It's like what I was saying with Halloween about how Halloween was like too spooky this year.
Yeah.
It was too real. So now I want because what do we love about Christmas? Togetherness, coziness, warmth by the fire, which for me will just be a lot of candles.
Yes, comfort and joy.
Comfort and joy, yes. And so I am bringing in the comfort and joy. And I'm extra excited because I threw a Christmas in July party where I got to use all of my colorful Christmas stuff. And, because I went from like a big house to like a small apartment. So before I had all the room to do multiple like Christmas themes and like, the office has one theme, the living room has one, blah, blah, blah. Now, problems of abundance, I know. And then this year I did like the Christmas in July. So now I feel like they got, their proper use. And now I get to stick with like a nice traditional, calming, nice classic Christmas theme. I'm very excited about this.
It's
the little things, right?
Yes, it is. I mean, we have gotten through this year and we ought to be able to, celebrate safely, but, with a grateful spirit.
Yes.
And all that jazz. I just am really into it.
Yeah, and I love every year, I don't even know if you know that I do this, but I like picking out an ornament for you guys.
I love
and I always tie them
ornaments.
to your presents, and so I'm always like, ooh, I think I got you a lollipop one year or something like that. But so I'm like, ooh, what ornament am I going to tie on Susie's gift this year?
I love getting ornaments because every year you get them out and you're like, oh, I remember this special thing.
Yes, absolutely. I remember one I bought the year that we started Brain Candy, and it's like a piece of candy or something like that, and I have it on my tree, and it always reminds me of that.
I mean,
really
if we're not
you
careful, we're really going to lose our street cred with all this cheer.
What do we need? More sass? More.
I mean, we
bah
do
humbug?
have a reputation.
I can bring that. Luckily, knock on wood, there haven't been any leaks in my ceiling recently, so we good.
Oh my God! Thank heavens.
Yeah, I am a little bah humbuggy about how early we start Christmas. Like,
why?
Come on, not like because. Well, really, it's because. When I'm like ready to start, here's the order. You take out your Christmas stuff, you set up your Christmas stuff, you go shopping for more Christmas stuff because you're like, ooh, what would I like to add to the collection? If you do that in that order and you start putting out your Christmas stuff on December 1st, you're already too late and everything at Home Goods and Michael's is sold out.
Is that true?
So you got to, for sure, all the good stuff. They're like practically putting out spring, like summer, stuff again. It come like December for sure, right around because they're already out. The Halloween stuff was already gone. I remember I went like October 20th, maybe. No more Halloween stuff, all Christmas stuff. So that stuff's already sold out by Thanksgiving because everybody wants to have all the stuff decorated up by Thanksgiving.
Holy heck! I guess I didn't know. I'm behind.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. You've got a good Christmas. You've got good Christmas stuff, and you've got your manger. You've got all what do they call that? Is that a main? What do they call that?
The nativity.
Nativity scene. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So maybe you're just not on the regs shopping for Christmas stuff.
I usually do the post Christmas clearance dealio.
Yes.
That's always fun because then the next year when you unpack, you're like, oh, yeah, I got all this cool stuff.
I do love that.
Yeah.
I do love that. Yes, that was Halloween this year.
Woo. Well, I'm going to kick off with a story that has absolutely nothing to do with Christmas. I just read this story in the New York Times about this American tourist who was in Thailand at a resort, and he was crabby about a corkage fee. And so, which I get.
Yep.
And he posted a negative review on TripAdvisor about the resort. And the resort decided to press charges.
Whoa.
And the tourist had to go to jail.
Whoa.
For real.
Whoa.
And he was going to face years in prison. And thankfully, TripAdvisor paid for his attorney's fees and stuff and arranged a settlement with the resort.
Oh, my God.
For real.
Okay. Don't litter and don't leave bad reviews in Thailand.
I couldn't believe it. And then in the settlement, the resort made TripAdvisor promise not to give them one of these, I guess there's some color badge that means that they don't recommend staying there. So they couldn't put that up. So TripAdvisor was like, okay, fine, we'll agree to that. We won't put up the brown badge. But then they just afterwards, and after the tourists got home, they just created an entire alert on the resort that said, don't stay here.
Wow.
So, but
was this place shady? Was this
The picture looked beautiful. It didn't look like a dump or anything. And I just can't believe that that's allowed there. And I told Adam because he used to live in Thailand, and he was like, yeah, that sounds like Thailand.
Yeah, that in a way does kind of sound. They are kind of what's the word? Tyrannical? Is that kind of the one?
Well, they definitely have a lot of corruption and
corrupt. Yeah.
When Adam lived there, he went to a New Year's Eve thing at a nightclub and it was very similar to that thing that happened in New England where the pyrotechnics set the place ablaze. So Adam barely made it out alive of that fire and then was visited by the people who owned the nightclub, but one of whom was the chief of police. And they basically said, if you say anything, you're dead.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't know that part.
Mm-hmm. You can't sue them. Oh, they gave you 10,000 baht, which is $300. They were like, here's $100. Never
I would be
speak of
traumatized.
this.
That's extra traumatizing.
Right?
It adds another layer because it's invalidating to your experience, and now you're double victimized. I am so sorry for Adam.
I mean, that is really
I didn't
traumatic.
know that part.
Mm-hmm. And he was in the hospital. He had flesh hanging off his ears and stuff from the fire.
What?
And they're like, yeah, don't tell anybody.
God. Okay. Come on
what
now.
because if you're an American in Thailand and you're at a very beautiful resort, you kind of trick yourself into thinking they have the same rules and expectations as the West. But then you leave a negative review and they're like, yeah, you're going to jail.
Wow. Oh my God. And then that makes you think they're, called the land of 1,000 smiles.
Right.
And I'd be smiling too, which they are. It's wonderful. But it really is crazy that it's such a big, because my experience with Thailand is so wonderful. It is I always say it's my favorite place I've ever traveled. And it really is hot or cold,
Yeah, you can't let your guard down.
Yeah. Interesting. Because, I just heard, interesting. Wow.
I mean, every experience we had in Thailand was a positive one. So much so, in fact, that, I got all the pictures digitized through Legacy Box.
Oh, yes. Oh, good. Our snorkeling one. That's how you're able to find it so fast and send it to me.
That's right. That's why I can post it on Instagram, because thanks to the good people at Legacy Box, you can take all those memories and digitize them. And talk about a great gift. My friend Cassie just got this for her mom and dad. And so they're going through all those old film reels and VHS tapes.
Yes.
And they're sending them there, and then they're going to get them back in a digital form so they can share them and keep them safe. And I just think this is such a wonderful thing to do for the holidays for someone that is in your family, your parents.
It's perfect. It's what we really are valuing right now. No
Ain't
more taking
that the
pictures of a
truth?
picture. I'm done with that.
I have done that more times than I care to admit.
So many. Right.
Yeah, it's a great way to preserve your memories, and rather than let them collect dust in your closet or your attic, you can actually enjoy them. And they have a great deal going on. This is the best deal of the year. So please, if you're even thinking about it, go for it. Go to legacybox.com/brain to take advantage of this limited time offer. You get 60% off.
Whoa!
The exclusive offer won't last long, so order their kit now and send it in whenever you're ready. It's a sale to remember. Go to legacybox.com/brain and save 60% while supplies last.
Holy crud.
Great
60%.
I know.
Never get that.
Never say I didn't.
It's better
give
than
you
those
anything.
Halloween clearance items.
You're still thinking about them.
I am. I'm still bitter.
Okay,
Miss them
moving
every
on.
year. Yes.
Next up. So I was wound up about that. Okay, this cracked me up. There was a paleontology conference, and of course they have to do it via Zoom or one of these digital conferencing systems. And they had set it up so that they had basically censored any inappropriate language in chats and in presentations. And unfortunately, they went a little too crazy because this hypersensitive sensor, it wouldn't let, like, for instance, one of them had like a dinosaur specimen from a place called Hell Creek. So then when he put it up, it like just had like asterisk, 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 whatever, instead of the word hell. But it's hilarious because it also
Unintentional censorship.
It also censored the word bone.
Oh my God.
So funny, given that paleontologists, that's pretty much all they talk about.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And like the list of other words that they censored cracked me up. So here's some of them. Pubic, stream, beaver, ball. Come on, ball.
Singular?
Just one.
Oh,
Just
for goodness
the one
sakes.
ball.
Well, that's too much.
Stroke,
Oh my God.
wang.
Well, you know.
But here's the thing.
There's some scientists who are not getting
That's
credit.
correct. It said that Wang, they had a Western bias. So Wang was banned, but Johnson was not. So like Western.
What about Dick? What about Dick? What about Dick? What about Dick?
I'm sure Dick was.
Oh my God, that is so funny.
So like a lot of the Chinese paleontologists were censored, and like, you know, this is
That's
a
messed
lot
up.
of people. So all the Wang paleontologists did not get credit.
Okay, come on. These headlines just write themselves. This is too funny.
Like, talk about, as you say, unintended consequences. They just did not think that one through.
That is so funny. But I love when, like, have you seen, I think it's some late night host who does, like, unnecessary censorships, and they'll add a bleep when it just looks like they're saying a word, and then it makes it seem like they're saying something even worse. So by bleeping out these things, it looks like they're saying, like, something worse when you put asterisks there. Asterisks.
I just feel like censorship is
Asterisks.
ridiculous anyway. I really
just
don't
who
like
fucking cares?
hierarchical language. I don't know. It
Yeah.
just makes me crazy. It's just a word.
Yeah, who cares?
But
And, like, who's getting mad? And are paleontologists really, like, they were trying to, like, why do they have an open chat and are, I have so many questions. First of all, is this an open chat, like, or open forum or whatever, where anybody from the public can join, so they're worried about, like, heckling and stuff like that?
I do not think so. I think it was just an academic conference.
Then why are paleontologists not on good behavior in chat? Why can't they be trusted
I
to
can't
not
imagine this is even a big problem.
Is it a problem? No, they probably. Oh my gosh, this is too funny. Who wrote this?
They were probably worried that like they'd have a Jeffrey Toobin situation.
Oh my God, you can blur the word dick, but you can't blur the actual dick. That's a problem.
Right, that is. Stop it. Oh God, that's funny to me. Okay.
What? Oh my God. What if like because like, what if it like recognized any phallic shaped objects and it blurred that? So here they are holding
All
up
these
the bone,
bones.
and it just looks like they're holding a giant
Dildo.
fill in the blank. Yes. Oh my God, that's too funny.
I mean, a lot of times we try to improve our lives with technology, but things happen, and then, it's worse
Right.
than it would have been otherwise.
Right. It draws too much attention to it. It's like the
Streisand effect.
yes. I was like,
Yes.
is it Barbara Streisand or yes? It's the Streisand effect.
Okay,
Oh,
are
that's
you ready
funny.
for Susie's favorite game, the history of the baby book?
Oh, I love a baby book.
I knew you were going to say
As the
that.
firstborn child, I love it.
Right.
Ask Lucas, he hates it.
Right, as the fifth born child, what's
You
a
don't-
baby
Did you even
book?
get one?
Yeah.
I'm dying. That's so true.
Tell me
Oh my
what
God.
your baby book looks like.
Oh, it could not be. I still have it. It's in my possession because I'm like the holder of all of our memorabilia.
Yes.
It is so full and like,
Oh my
like
God.
you can't even close it. It's got my first lock of hair in it. It's got every picture from like everything was documented. Like my mom will tells anybody who listens and even people who aren't listening that she never put me down for the first 3 months of my life, and she means never put me down. Like she showered like I was like
No.
attached to her for which
That's
that's kind of how
so
they do it in like
sweet.
other so she gave me all of that love and attention that you could possibly
Wonder
need
what
in
happened
those
at
first.
3 months. She was like, fuck this.
I got squirmy. No, that's funny. She probably was like, God, I'm getting my hips are getting tired holding this thing.
Did you guys like
Something.
co-sleep and all that?
I'm sure I did.
I'm sure,
I don't
yeah.
know, actually. It was kind of the age of the best. I'll have to ask
It's
her.
so true.
She'll
That
be
wasn't
more than
very
happy to
popular.
tell me.
Yeah.
So, like, it's. I love hearing stories about that, of course, too. But she loves to tell it. So
It is
yeah.
funny, though, how, with your first child, it is so precious and meaningful and everything's so important. And then even by number 2, from what I hear, people are like, you get over it.
Yeah, it started to just drop off as, But I look at my own, many like journals that I've started and like, kinda,
Yeah.
sometimes I finish them, but not like the ones. I'm worse at the ones that are, like the baby books, how they have instructions almost. They're like a guide. Like I'm better if it's just a free-form journal. So maybe it's the structure where I'm like, don't tell me what to do. But
Well,
what's
that's
the
what
history
I found
of it?
really interesting is what you're saying, how I didn't realize that the ones that have those instructions and like mile markers and developmental tips and stuff, those were by design and they were encouraged by the public health, industry. And I think it's so cool because I had no idea. I thought everyone was just commemorating their fucking babies all the time, but it really was about...
look at that.
Yeah, it was meant to prevent infant mortality, and that's when its emergence, coincided with changes in infant mortality and was a way to remind people of like medical care, track development, and I just
love
never
that.
knew that.
I like that. Well, you know what? This is kind of like those baby apps, like the apps that
Yes.
track your. This is totally that version. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, look at how cute. You know how we've even joked about that. Like, your baby's the size of a blueberry. Your baby's like, it's adorable, and it also serves a function. Wow.
Yeah, which I think is so cool because you take for granted that everyone knows what a properly outfitted nursery might look like, but a lot of people don't. So this is a way for them to know, here's what is best for baby, perfect diet for baby. And
Oh.
then, like, they would even, mothers started recording their babies' accidents and their attempts to discipline them. But then it said, as the emerging field of child psychology grew and emphasized infancy as like a critical juncture of development, the focus changed. And like the mothers would record their attempts to conform to these new concepts of like modern motherhood. And I just love that. I love that we're
Yes.
I feel that sense now. Like there's all these expectations and you just want to do your best. But like culture changes, guidelines change, and it can be difficult to sort of keep up with it. I also love, just as a historian myself, that we always learn that there's a lot of records about official things, like somebody's baptism or when they got married, when they died, things that are rituals but also important for like public works.
Yes.
But we don't often have like, we might have their baptismal gown, but we don't have like what they wore every day, hundreds of years ago I'm talking about.
Right,
and so
right.
I love that these books are proving to be a resource for historians who want to understand how it really was for mothers.
Time capsules in a way, of the experience.
Rather than just like medical records or whatever that don't give you the true sense,
Yes.
So that's fun.
That's really cool. And it's when you pose it as like a baby book that you're doing for the baby and for you, that's fun, and I want to do that. Mm-hmm. If it's like, can you please track the development?
Yeah.
That's work, right? Put it in adorable little book. Yeah, I love that.
I didn't know, though, that, people are really just sharenting, like putting everything online and not really doing baby books anymore. I didn't know that.
Oh, I would be a baby book person.
Yeah, I have one for Lincoln, and I thought everyone still did
yes.
that. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, whenever you look at that lock of hair in the baby book, do you think about function of beauty and how you've maintained that baby softness?
I'm telling you, it really does feel like I have freaking virgin hair again. It's amazing. Yes.
We love function of beauty. It is personalized hair care, and actually they have body care now too, lotions and stuff. Oh. I just love that you can go on and take this quick quiz, and then you get a custom solution just for you. Because, frankly, not everybody's hair is the same, and everybody has different needs and wants.
For sure.
So why not customize it just for you? It's like, how when you leave the salon and it's like perfect? Well, it's because they have a lot of different kinds to choose from.
Yes,
so this is like a salon situation at home. Plus, it's all clean ingredients. They don't have sulfates or parabens and stuff like that. And it comes right to your door. And at this time, we don't want to be going shopping unnecessarily. So what are you waiting for? Go to functionofbeauty.com/braincandy to take the quiz and save 20% on your first hair care order. Go to functionofbeauty.com/braincandy to let them know you heard about it from our show and get 20% off your hair care order. That's functionofbeauty.com/braincandy, and you can look like Sarah.
And I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but one of my favorite things is that a little goes a long way. I am still on bottle number 1 of conditioner and shampoo, and that never, it's always like you burn through one, fast than the other. I'm still going through them like this.
You get your money's worth.
I had to buy shampoo and conditioner before? It was like, oh, what one am I going to use this week? Buy this week. Now it's been like months.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, like, because you get your money's worth then, because you just can use a little bit. Plus, it's better for the environment.
Yep. Oh, I love that.
Okay. Let's see. I guess we'll talk about garlic and social class.
Like that they go together?
Yeah, I read this academic article about how garlic has long been associated with lower class.
No way.
And like back
I would have thought the opposite.
Well, yeah, because now it's like, I want all the garlic, and it's at all the restaurants. It's just like garlic, garlic, garlic. But not so before. Apparently, in Italy is sort of like the U.S. in the sense that southern Italy is seen as like lower class. You know how like southern U.S. has that stigma as well?
Yeah.
And so they were more inclined to add tons of garlic to their meals, and people often associate smell with whether or not you're like high society. Like if you smell bad, then
oh my God,
you're like dirty and a loser.
Well, yeah, but I love how garlic smells.
Oh my God, me too. Like when someone's cooking with garlic, my mouth waters.
Cooked or uncooked. I even like I'll bite into a piece of garlic and just like give it a little. I don't even care.
I thought it was so interesting though, because like they were saying how northern Italians would refer to southern Italians as like spaghetti benders and grape stompers, and then garlic eaters. It was like a slur.
That is, I'm going to have to ask my mom about this. This is the first I'm hearing of this. And
Well, and then it bled to immigrants. So Southern Italians tended to be the ones coming to America in the early 20th century. And they were shamed for the way they smelled and the food, the way the food smelled. And you think about it now. Have you ever lived in an apartment building with someone who cooked like Indian food or something? Or even Mexican?
Thank goodness I have not had any weird smells coming from anywhere, but I enjoy those smells. So it's like I can't even...
Well, to me, it's like white supremacy because like basically bland European food was fine, but anything that was flavorful like Mexican, even Jewish like pickled fish or garlic, these were seen as dirty and stinky, and so they were not totally American, and we like everything bland, I guess.
I won't say we. I won't even lump myself into that category, but Americans do. Ugh,
but isn't it gross how like we can be racist about fucking anything?
Anything. And you know what? The awful thing is food, as I've seen in a million different, the food, Somebody Feed Phil is a very good example. Food brings us together.
Yeah.
And people are using it to drive people apart, and I don't like that.
Yeah, like they have all these recipe books from like hundreds of years ago where they would be like, if you must, you can include 1/4 of 1 clove of garlic. But it was like seen as really sinful and terrible.
I don't understand why not seasoning your food is seen as like
high society,
class.
Right?
What the fuck is that about? Is it supposed to be like the food is it's such good quality that it doesn't need any seasoning? Because that people who are like, this you don't even have to add anything to the whatever. It's like
it's not even true though.
It tastes bad. It's not true.
Yeah,
especially not in our age of like genetically modified food, where my tomatoes taste like chalk.
I know. That makes me really sad. Do you think that... So if let's say you use a seed from a tomato like that, but you plant it in really rich, nutrient-dense soil, will it taste better or is it just doomed?
I think it might taste better.
Okay, I'm hopeful then.
Because I think that the nutrient... I mean, it comes... Because I know that you can... With adding different fertilizers and like different... like natural fertilizers, even I was just reading this the other day, like ground up worms, stuff like that. You can get like a more flavorful or like fruit with a darker color. You just have to, takes work and time and energy, I think, and sunlight and all that good stuff.
So I don't know
because the one thing that I'm terrible is growing anything that you eat. I can grow plants like no problem, like in the house and flowers, plants, all that. But I have a problem with food with ones that are edible.
You'll get there. There's still time.
I'll get there. I need actual land. I think will be helpful. It's hard to do it in a.
Sarah, I know you weren't meaning to be funny, but that's really funny.
Yeah, I need land. I need more than just a
because it is an ambitious idea to grow vegetables when you have like a balcony only.
A balcony, yeah. Thanks, Suze.
I
got basil and I got thyme and I got some rosemary, and that's about it.
That's enough. That's good.
Yeah.
Don't be hard on yourself.
So supportive.
Okay. A quick one. Let's see.
But now I have more questions about garlic. Is garlic like? Because then I thought about how fast it does grow, and maybe is it one of those like kind of like potatoes where it's seen as? Because I kind of think of that as the Irish and the potato eater kind of thing, and it's just a very cheap, fast growing.
Well, this is sort of what they didn't say in the article, and I didn't know, was like, what is it? It's the chicken and the egg thing, where is it like, we hate that person, so then we hate what they eat, or we don't like the smell, so then we hate the person. I don't know which way it goes.
Right. Right, I don't either.
But it's probably the former, where it's like, I hate you, so then I hate the food you eat.
Yeah, because I do see what you're saying. If I can imagine somebody having a neighbor that would cook any kind of ethnic food, and people being like, "Oh, that smells like blah, 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 blah,"
Right.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, stop being a-holes. That's what I say to those people.
Yeah.
Okay, well, but one thing you definitely shouldn't stop is wearing a Third Love bra because they're freaking great.
Mine. And matching sets. Don't sleep on those undies.
That's actually the next thing on my list to buy is some more Third Love undies because you're right. They are
so cute.
My favorite underpants.
And if you've been in quarantine, you don't realize that it's been a long time. Well, because we've all been on lockdown, and you don't realize that it's been a long time since you probably freshened up the collection.
Yes, and it's time. Because
it's time.
You got to put some hope out there and know that we will need to look decent, and we need to support our bosoms. And so, Third Love is great because they have measurements of millions of women that help them design these bras with all-day comfort and support in mind. So they have half sizes. They have more than 80 different sizes from AA all the way up to I. And they just have no-slip straps and all this memory foam cups and stuff that make it so you don't even mind wearing it, which is all I ask for. You wouldn't think we were asking for much, but apparently it took this long to get that. And they have...
Well, because they needed to put women in charge. That's why.
Amen.
They need to actually ask us. There you go.
Yes. Perfect fit promise as well. So you have 60 days to wear it. And then if you don't love it, you can return it. And then they donate it to a woman in need, which I love. They're quality. They're comfortable. They have wonderful pajamas and robes as well. Third Love knows there's a perfect bra for everyone. So right now, they're offering our listeners 10% off your first order. Go to thirdlove.com/brain now to find your perfect fitting bra and get 10% off your first purchase. That's thirdlove.com/brain for 10% off today. I just said to Adam, I remember now why I always wore a bra in Pittsburgh. I mean, when you're cold... It's not very comfortable to go braless, which is what I do in LA.
I did not know this.
Yes, I didn't realize it until I came back here and I was like, yes, I need a bra. So there you go. Too much information, but you're welcome. Okay.
You keep your nips warm.
They really do. They protect theirs. They're sensitive, Sarah. Okay.
Yeah, I will say that I went surfing with my brother and went in the water and... got out, and oh my God, they hurt so bad because they were cold. Ugh. What the heck was I didn't even know that was a thing because it was so cold. I was like, ow!
Were you wearing
and I
like a wetsuit?
Talk to my brother about that. Wetsuit and swimsuit underneath. But still, I was like, oh my God, my little babies are so cold. I got to warm them up.
There must be something for that. Can you put like something on them?
Probably.
You know how like runners do that?
Yeah, they do have that. I do have those sticks, the anti-chafe like glide sticks left over from, back in the day when I used to like be active and do triathlons and shit. Now I just drink wine. The end.
And both are great. That's fine
in
too.
bras, yes. There we go.
Okay. Would you like, even though spooky season is over, we do like to pepper these stories in. Would you like to know more about the Ouija board?
Always.
Do you have a Ouija board?
No, but I should. And I want like an old if they come out with like a throwback looking one, I'll be totally on that.
Do they've modernized them so they look like...
Like I want the box to look like, I don't want it to be like from Milton Bradley all over it,
Right, it really cuts down on the spook factor.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, first of all, do you believe in Ouija boards? Is what I want to know.
I believe in people's
psychic energy,
but I don't believe in... I think that Ouija boards put you in a state of mind to maybe be more open to anything else but I don't think like ghosts are going to be moving your Ouija board thing. But I'm into it.
People have all these spooky stories though about Ouija boards where they like throw them away and then they come back. What's that about?
What?
I've been hearing this since the satanic panic of my childhood in the 80s when they would be like, if you try to throw away your Ouija board, it'll end up back in your house the next day.
Oh, my God. Oh, well, I saved this article. I haven't read it yet, but it's the answer to somebody explains like, cursed objects. So I can't wait to read that. And then
that's interesting.
So
okay.
we'll put a pin. I'll put a pin in that and come back to that maybe next time.
Okay. Well, so somebody made the board, but then it's sort of like all these old timey things where like whoever makes it never gets the credit. It's always like the opportunistic entrepreneur who's like, that sounds great. I'll steal that patent. And then they like file the patent and then they get all the credit. But one of the makers, this is creepy, died after falling off of a roof of a building that the board had told him to build.
What?
So, like, one of the people that created the Ouija board had been told by the board to build some building.
Okay, but see, there's where the story falls apart. Because, like, if we talk about, the individual's influence on it. So, the board... The man got the validation that he needed from asking a board a question that he probably already had the answer.
Confirmation bias.
Confirmation bias there. And then there was, I mean, I love the story.
I do too.
What happened to me? I'm so cynical.
No, I love it. It's a nice balance.
Oh, I would have been like, well, I still believe that my grandma moved that picture. So, again, there's balance.
Somebody wrote to us and said, listen, had Sarah already told that story or did I have a psychic premonition that happened to her? And I'm like, I think that was a repeated story.
Yeah, probably. I don't have many ghost experiences, so that one comes out every Halloween.
Well, it is spooky. Okay.
Yeah.
So I thought it was interesting. The article described how it grew in popularity during the Great Depression. And it reminded me of how we are right now. So everyone is stressed. Everyone is upset. And what happens when that happens? Conspiracy theories run amok. And people start concocting all this stuff that makes sense of what they perceive as madness. So as you can probably imagine, now that we've been through the pandemic, what the Great Depression was sort of like. I mean, it was way worse.
Right. Yeah.
And so people are seeking solace and refuge in things that maybe are dubious and not.
I wonder if there's also elements of looking for like
answers.
But yes.
Yes.
But then also I think about what you said with the psychics and how we're not seeing psychics be anymore. Like, ooh, what's going to happen with... You know what? Because it's comfort about other stuff.
Yes.
Okay, I totally get this. Ooh, Suze, good history of...
Before we started recording, Sarah and I were talking about how she was describing like, during times of distress on, like, this huge scale like we're dealing with now culturally and medically, a lot of your defenses are broken down. And so then you're just this shell that's super vulnerable. And what you're upset about is usually like your love life or your kids or something.
Yes.
But really it's because all the other layers are in question at the same time.
Yes.
You were right about that.
You got to zoom out and look at... Yeah.
And then,
whenever I get in that hole and I'm always like, oh, everything is the worst, Ren will be like, Sarah, you got to zoom out. And I'm like, God, don't use my own therapy advice against me.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, and then I think about it, I'm like, fuck, I'm right.
You are right, but it is so
I am
hard.
Right. I know it's so hard when you're in that moment. It's so hard. That's why I say to myself, to my clients, everybody, you got to create the a la carte menu of self-care and, like, literally have it, like, written out and in front of you and easy to use. Like, if there's anything, like, for me, gardening is my self-care. But if I don't have the tools, the dirt, the everything, so I have to, like, set myself up to have all that, like, prepped. And then if I feel like, oh, I need some self-care, then it's already there. Because the idea of, like, in the moment you need it, having to then think of, oh, what do I do? Is too overwhelming. You can't do it.
Yeah, that's a good point. So just have it ready.
Have whatever it is you want. For our bath's lovely. We'll have, like, the stuff to get yourself ready for a bath, or have a plan of, like, time of, like, okay, hubby, time for you to watch the kids. Like,
it's
I'm taking a bath. Like, it's bath time. Like, set yourself up for success so that when those moments come, you can be like, okay, I need to use that.
I agree. Instead, rather than using a Ouija board. But you can do that too if you think that's super fun and great.
And if you're like, oh, I got to go to my Ouija board and that's like your time to chill and meditate or whatever the heck that is, then do that. But make sure you have the Ouija board ready to go. You're not going to be, like, able to come up with new ideas in the moment is what I'm getting at. So yeah, whatever brings you peace, and I get it. I totally get that. Don't we see, like, it's almost... I'd wonder if people are getting more religious now.
Definitely.
Or I think that
Not,
is. Like,
not religious like
spiritual.
going to church, but what we're seeing a lot of is people moving towards New Age stuff and astrology, especially millennials. There's been a big push. People in the millennial range usually grew up with a religious tradition, but then they abandoned it as adults, but they still have that urge. And so they've replaced it with things like astrology, crystals. We're seeing a lot of that New Agey stuff becoming popular as well.
Love when Susie drops the knowledge.
Anyway.
Yes, tell me all about that.
I'll tell you all
So
about
interesting.
how you can ship stuff right from your house, too. You can love that.
Stamps.com?
Stamps.com.
And I just re-upped and had them send me some of the stamp, like printable sheets.
Yeah.
So I just popped that, because you hear, if you've listened to the show, you know about how bad I am at having stamps around.
It's so
now I got
convenient.
stamps.com, and I always do. Woo!
Yes. Here's my pitch, because we're moving into the Christmas season. We're not going to be able to see everyone we want to see this year, unfortunately. So shipping is even more important than usual. So for me, it's like, this is the perfect time to do the trial, because you can see how useful it is, how great it is that you're shipping all this stuff and you don't have to leave your house, because they have postage for any letter, package, class of mail, anywhere you want to send. You just print it right out, put it on the package, and your mail carrier picks it up. You don't have to do anything. And you can even save money, because you can get 5 cents off every first-class stamp and up to 40% off priority mail and up to 62% off UPS shipping rates. So it's saving you time and money. Don't spend a minute of your holiday season at the post office this year. Sign up for Stamps.com instead. There's no risk. With our promo code BRAINCANDY, you get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com. Click on the microphone at the top of the homepage and type in Brain Candy. That's Stamps.com. Enter Brain Candy. Stamps.com. Never go to the post office again. Okay. You actually reminded me of this thing I wanted to talk about, because you were saying, what were you saying? I
say so much.
Well, about taking a bath and like,
oh yes,
whatever,
yes.
For women, and like have your husband watch the kids, blah blah blah. Okay, so one of my favorite authors, Helen Peterson, who I've chosen for book club twice, she has a newsletter that I highly recommend. It's free. You can sign up and you get two a week. Anyway, she did one this week, and the title was, Other Countries Have Social Safety Nets. The U.S. Has Women. And it was...
Other countries have social
safety nets. The U.S. has women. So basically, the system is designed to rely entirely on women to make up for things that should come just from paying your taxes and having social programs.
Preschool, early
maternity,
after school care, maternity leave.
So she interviewed these scholars who were studying this phenomenon, and I just felt like it was so important to talk about on the show, because our listeners are women, of course, mostly, and you can really...
And super woke dudes. Shout out to you guys.
Super woke dudes, and who will want to know this too.
Yeah.
That a lot of times we, as women, and especially other marginalized groups as well, like, you just think the system is fair, and then you have to work around it and work within it. And so we're not taught to see the forces that operate beyond our control, like capitalism, patriarchy, white supremacy. And like, instead, we, these groups, are taught to like self-help book our way out of structural problems, and how it's all bullshit.
Ew, yes.
Right? Like, great. Self-help books, fine if you enjoy them. But like, they're not...
Ouija boards, fine if you enjoy them.
Yeah, but they're not a replacement for a fair and just society. And like, I think it's on her mind, because during the pandemic, we're seeing in the data how women are leaving the workforce because they have to take care of their kids, because their kids are home, need schooling and all that stuff. And so, again, women are becoming more reliant on their husbands to earn the money, which is a problem, because that gives men an outsized domination in the home. And like, also there's all these intensive work and intensive parenting norms. Like, think about the pressure on moms to be like perfect.
Yeah.
And they are powerful because they serve the interest of powerful actors in our society, including corporations and white men.
Jeez.
And so I just wanted like to shout out to our listeners and be like, just so you know, this is what's going on. And if you feel like you're sacrificing your career and your life, that part of it is by design and the system wants that.
Oh,
that sucks.
That's really sucks. But then like, okay, what do we do when we're aware of it?
I mean, basically vote to elect people who support social structures that have, maternity leave, paternity leave, preschool, daycare, Medicare. Like, like it's just all fucked.
Oh my God, it is.
So
preach, Susie.
I'm just saying, like, if we want structural change, then we have to vote. And it's like a reminder too of like, don't just think about the presidential elections, which are very exciting and like that's what we get into. It's at your local level even.
Yeah.
You know, so just try to be civic minded in that way.
I mean, I even feel like it goes down to who's in the PTA. I mean, come on. It's like, for real, which things get pushed forward, I don't know. It's all the little stuff.
Just be aware.
It's like, be aware.
But it's a bummer. But I like to just like rally the troops occasionally.
But that's a good thing to keep in mind all of that is falling on women's shoulders. And now with the kids being at home and with school, it's too much.
Well, because remember I did that poll on my Instagram, like, do you know any man who's taking the primary role as the educator in the house during virtual learning? And I think that it ended up being about 80-20. 80% said women were doing it. That's not ideal.
Right. That's not ideal. Oh,
anyway,
goodness.
Speaking of like weird women stuff, I'm sure you've kind of tapped into this either like indirectly or explicitly, but you know these like weird Facebook kind of like scams where people pretend like they have cancer or something and then they act
I've heard.
And then they like raise money through GoFundMe and stuff.
Oh, gosh. It's like the modern Rose, what's her name?
Yes.
Yeah.
Gypsy Rose.
Gypsy Rose.
And in fact, a scholar called it Munchausen by internet.
Oh my God. That's exactly it.
And
wow.
The weird thing for me was I read this article about it and it said 95% of these scams are done by women.
Oh, well, yeah. Okay.
Wait, why is that obvious to you?
Because it's the same way 95% of Munchausen's is women.
Yeah, but
I don't know if that's the actual thing,
but it's consistent with this.
Consistent, yeah.
Okay, why do you think?
Oh man, I don't know enough about that to speak on it, but I kind of feel like it's your chicken or the egg thing. Is the way society's structured bring out those kind of.
Like that's the strategy given our resources.
Yes. Yes, that's a strategy because we see a lot of things. And then I think about, mass shootings and what that, or like the serial killers and what that,
I think you hit the nail on the head because in this article this scholar said, when men act out, they end up in prison. When women act out, they end up in doctors' offices.
Whoa.
Isn't that weird?
Whoa.
Your reactions. That was really compelling to me.
That is because it is mental illness in jeez.
So this was,
and often women act out even though they're often in some way the victim. Like not actual but
that's how their identity
presenting
is.
They're presenting themselves as like needing rather than so are the men in a way, but they're interesting.
I don't think the men identify as victims though.
No, they don't.
Because they're angry and we don't usually associate that with poor me.
Right.
But when women do it, it's so, we all know these women too.
Yeah.
Maybe not the ones that have the GoFundMes and the cancer scams, but like the woe is me, like everything's terrible, Eeyore, you know.
Oh my God, that was always my favorite character. Sometimes I just because the last few years have been so tumultuous. I mean, like up and down. I'm like, am I that person? I hope I have to pepper in,
No, you're not.
some positive things.
You're
Or I'm
Tigger
like,
if there ever was one.
Okay, good. Whew.
But it was saying basically that women tend to act out in more socially sanctioned ways, but they're unsavory all the same. And that they're really not even in it for the money, that they are in it for the care and concern that they mobilize.
100%.
Isn't that bonkers?
That is the Munchausen. That's the also what is it called? Fictitious illness. Now they call Munchausen's. It's fictitious illness imposed on self or imposed on another, or on self or on another. I have the DSM right in front of me. I could even look that shit up.
They did say, as just sort of a help, when you're seeing some of these on Facebook or something, that it's very hard to tell if it's fake because each situation is unique. But one red flag is that if you're truly sick with cancer or something, you have a lot of days that are just sort of boring and you're just binge watching Netflix and resting. But in these GoFundMes, it tends to be very high drama all the time. Like it's urgent all the time and nothing's working and they need it immediately. And any kind of like constant drama, they said, is a good red flag for those scams.
Wow. Jeez. And
I mean, I can't relate.
I can't relate either because I wouldn't want. I don't want. I want the opposite of the pity. I want people to be like, nah, look at she's surviving it. Look at it.
Right. That's my big thing. That's the last thing I want is people to think I need help, even when I do.
Right.
Okay, moving on. My final story for the day. Someone listed, I think Brainiac sent this to me. I can't remember the name, but someone listed a coffin with a real human skeleton on like Facebook Marketplace for $100. And I just think it's number one, hilarious. And the coffin,
way too cheap.
I know. I thought that's a real bargain.
Wait, you didn't even want to auction this thing off? You got a bunch of weirdos out there who are like...
So apparently this guy...
At least to the Cannibal Corpse guy?
Right, that could have gotten a good price. Well, evidently this guy was a member of something similar to like the Masons or like Elk Lodge or whatever. And they had this ritual where new recruits would have to sort of, I don't know, look at this coffin skeleton guy and recognize their own morality and mortality. And the message was supposed to be, unless you're helping someone, you're dead. I don't know how that is necessary to have a skeleton to accomplish that, but they were like liquidating. And so he's like, I talked to my friend who works at a funeral home, and he felt like it would be okay to sell it because the coffin had a window in it, like one of those creepy dictator ones.
Yeah.
So you could see like the head and the torso. And he said, but the skeleton was like nailed down. So this was clearly meant for display or most likely was donated for science. So they were arguing it's not unethical to sell it because they don't need to be buried because they never had that intention. But what do you think? Do you think that's unethical that they should just have buried it?
Well, I think if it in the state of California, it is illegal to buy and sell. I know
human
this because
body
I tried
parts
no,
and stuff.
How
right?
about animal body parts? I can't buy. I tried to get a skull, like a nice antler set, for my house, and because I used to do a bunch of art projects with that, I went to my regular skull guy that I went to for like 5 years, and I had a skull guy.
Stop.
Stop. And he told me he can't. In the state of California, he can't sell them anymore.
Wait.
So you can't sell that because they're trying to discourage hunting.
Sarah.
All of this is true.
What do you mean you're a regular skull guy?
I used to use a lot of like antlers and stuff like that, and I would do these Etsy art projects where I would take a skull, like a deer skull, and I'd put like succulents and flowers and stuff like that on the top and like mount them, and I sold them online. I made a pretty penny doing that, and they're really beautiful, and they look super cool. And so I had to get the pieces somewhere.
Isn't he a taxidermist though, or something? Like, what's his actual?
Nah, he was like a dealer. And then everybody knew him as that. I was like, hey, where's the skull guy? Oh, yeah, he's over on aisle 3.
No.
Yeah. Where's the animal skulls guy?
Okay, so he
For real. Anybody who
title.
shopped at Suze, he was at the Long Beach, he was at the flea market we went to.
I remember.
We did this together.
I do. I just didn't know you called him your skull guy.
Well, I mean, what else am I going to call him? I didn't know his real name. Steve?
Well, like, I would assume he's some sort of, they have to have a real name.
Usually people do.
No. I mean like a title.
Yeah, I don't know what his title is. He was a dealer of antiquities.
And oddities.
Oddities and antiquities.
So he had to go out of business because it was illegal? It was like drug trafficking?
He didn't go out of business. He just sold other stuff. Like, I think there were different, like, you can't do the antlers and the skull. There was like something about
That's so weird because in Pittsburgh, they're trying to encourage hunting because we have like a deer overpopulation.
Well, if you have any skulls, send them my way.
I'm sure there's a lot of skull guys out here. Oh my God.
A lot of skull guys. Oh, I'm going to have to, what is it? What do you call it when you take it across state lines and you smuggle? I'm going to have to smuggle it across state lines. My brain like disappeared.
Yeah, you get me pot, I'll get you skulls.
Oh, that's a good trade.
Okay, now we need to wind it down.
Winding it down.
Christmas spirit.
Man, we talked about a lot today, Suze.
I know.
Talked about the
really
history of baby books.
Mm-hmm.
We learned Susie doesn't even have one.
I do, but my sister filled it out. My older sister filled it out.
That's really cute.
She's 10 years older than me, so I guess that's allowed. But we learned that you should probably not review a Thailand resort unless you're back home safe and sound.
Right, or you might end up in jail.
And if you go to a paleontologist conference, you might...
and your name is Dick, don't even bother commenting.
Just zip it.
Change your name for this conference.
We learned that garlic means you might be low brow.
Yeah,
but I
still have questions on that.
Yeah,
not at all. I reject that. I do rejected.
Rejected. And we learned that the Ouija board is spooky, but probably not really.
Yeah, and also if it brings you comfort, whatevs.
And of course, watch out for Munchausen by internet scams.
Oh my gosh, yes. And ladies, stop doing that.
Stop. If you need attention, just dress like Miss Frizzle, like that lady last time.
There you go.
She got plenty of attention.
Answer. Yeah, do that. There you go. I like that. Good advice.
And don't forget to leave us a 5-star review and subscribe, please.
Yes.
And we'll see you next time. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, if you're enjoying this podcast, try giving my podcast, Miraculous Mamas, a listen. Miraculous Mamas is a safe and inclusive place for you to find a huge amount of educational and relatable information about childbirth and parenting with absolutely everything in between. Each week we discuss important topics, share great resources, hear from experts, and listen to birth stories, all in an effort to bring you reassuring and informative experiences so that you know that you are not alone. That's all on Miraculous Mamas podcast. Look for the podcast link in the show notes or simply search for Miraculous Mamas on your podcast app.